This is it, the election of 2022. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. And it's very early in the morning. The election of 22 will take place today. Most polls will open at 6 o'clock a.m. It's still dark unless you live just west of the time zone line. Not only that, but the beaver moon will be in total eclipse between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. I am an officer of election, just as I was in the Virginia pre-midterm, and I will be working the polls all day, and that's why I am bringing this out at 4 a.m. And as you go to the polls, I want you to ask yourself a few things. Before I tell you what those things are, I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views, link in the description. And be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of great merchandise there, especially this t-shirt that I have chosen for today, which depicts Joe Biden saying, "I did that." And from the picture, you can guess that he is admitting that he blew something up. Well, actually, he did quite recently. He admitted shutting down drilling and digging for coal. And his staff say that's taken out of context. And that is false. He wanted to say it. He is ticked off that he has to hide this. He wants to say that he made a decision that we peons are cooking the planet. And I mean to say that the real problem with the president is holding him back. And because the Democrats haven't held him back, that's why they're likely going to lose. One more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, you can like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come up with a new one. In fact, excuse me, do you see the new icon, the heart shape with the US dollar sign in it? That's the super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click that. Leave me a tip. Any currency will do, as long as it's legal tender. And now, the questions I want you to ask yourselves. First and foremost, are you better off now than when the 117th Congress convened? Can you find what you want in the stores? And if you find it, can you afford it? For those of you who have retirement accounts, are they still worth enough to outlast you? Or do you now face the prospect of spending out your retirement and going to a pauper's grave? Dare you walk the streets of your city at night? And most of all, do Democratic Party office holders even care? Did you catch when Democratic Acting Governor Kathy Hochul of New York State actually asked her opponent, Lee Zeldin, on stage, why crime should matter? Hey, Kathy, if you want to dispute that, go take it up with the New York Post. Of course, you can always leave a comment in my comment space. Second question, do you trust current officials to look out for your children in school? Are you copacetic with a deliberate campaign to turn the schools into laboratories of psychological, physiological, and surgical experimentation? Experimentation on your children, more horrible than anything you ever saw in the movies, from the Frankenstein franchise to the Island of Dr. Moreau. Experiments they run without even doing you parents the courtesy of telling you. And to all you lab directors, excuse me, teachers and principals who think you can call me a liar, I have you nailed to the wall, dead to rights. So has Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia, who won the Virginia pre-midterm last year. And so, more to the point, do many parents. Again, you lab directors, you should never have opened your laboratories to remote viewing through Zoom. If you doubt anything I just said, leave a comment. Yesterday I shared with you the endorsement that turned the Arizona Senate race around. A spoiler in the race decided, spoiler no more, vote Republican. Why? Because the same people who created the economy and inaugurated their experimental program on children are also dragging this country into a nuclear war. Which, of course, is the third question I want you to ask yourself. Are you prepared to die in a nuclear blaze to save the hindquarters of a venal shakedown artist who passes himself off as the leader of a country, the independent existence of which is an open, legal, and historical question? Mark Victor in Arizona said no. Earlier this fall, several constituents of the founder and leader of the Squad said no. And not just in one meeting, but two. As if Mark Victor ceasing to play the spoiler did not seal the deal for Blake Masters in Arizona, actor Chuck Norris gave him his endorsement. Chuck Norris did better than that. In WorldNet Daily, he endorsed Republicans generally. He further relied on the testimony of 8 founding fathers to back him up. I have a link in the description to his op-ed in WorldNet Daily. He says, quote, "To be frank, the only way your quality of life is going to get better is by getting the liberal Democrats out of office across the country. It starts with these midterm elections and will run to the 2024 presidential campaign." Unquote, Chuck Norris, who concluded with 19 specific congressional, Senate, and gubernatorial endorsements. Blake Masters was only one of them. Even Elon Musk played the endorsement game yesterday. Now, before I get into that, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is oursilverlives.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You're not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the past few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Now, whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities that company provides, either way, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com to learn how you can build a legacy for your future. And now we get into Elon Musk's endorsement play. I've left a link in the description to one tweet that actually captures his entire message. Because a tweet always leads with any tweet to which it is made in reply. Here is the full text of Elon Musk's remarks. To independent-minded voters, shared power curbs the worst excesses of both parties. Therefore, I recommend voting for a Republican Congress, given that the presidency is Democratic. Hardcore Democrats or Republicans never vote for the other side, so independent voters are the ones who actually decide who's in charge. Unquote, Elon Musk, who later yesterday afternoon clarified his position. I have a link in the description to that tweet too. So, here we go. Quote, "Like most people in America," well, I might dispute him on that, "I agree with some of the Democrat and some of the Republican policies, but not all. However, if executive and legislative branches are dominated by one party, then we lose balance of power." Close quote. Now, of course, I'd like to know with what policies of the Democratic Party Elon Musk would agree. You know I can't agree with a single one. This isn't a matter of slot guarding, as it might have been when Arlen Specter first became a senator from the state of Pennsylvania. To be frank, with apologies to Chuck Norris, the Democrats all believe one thing no civilized person can tolerate. To them, a thief is an irregular wealth redistribution agent. I said so in a tweet in reply, and I've left a link in the description. And, Elon, I invite you to leave a comment on this channel also. That alone would be bad enough. The experiments on children and their contempt for human life make the Democrats unworthy of anyone's support. Besides, balance of power is a poor criterion for electoral decision making. You don't seek a balance of power between good and evil. Now, the reaction Elon Musk got speaks volumes about where each side comes from. Conservatives made much the same observation I made, but at least they kept a civil tone, because that's how we are. About half the tweets on the leftist side seem to repeat Democratic Party talking points about Republicans posing a threat to democracy. Now, actually, I suspect that anyone being uncivil beyond a certain point had his tweets deleted. And I don't expect Elon to keep tweets that are just making gratuitous insults. Elsewhere on Twitter, Representative James Clyburn of South Carolina, the House Democratic whip, again compared Republicans to the National Socialist German Workers' Party. I have a link in the description to a video on Twitter in which he made the comparison. Now, lay aside how a Republican could be any kind of socialist, whether nationalist or internationalist. Fox News quotes him. This country is on track to repeat what happened in Germany when it was the greatest democracy going, when it elected a chancellor that then co-opted the media. The past president called the press the enemy of the people. That's a bunch of... I'll let you imagine. And that's what is going on in this country, unquote James Clyburn. Except that Donald Trump did not co-opt the media, and the Weimar Republic was scarcely the greatest democracy going. And as to co-opting the media, Ambassador Susan Rice, the puppet mistress of the president, has done that. Then again, this goes to show the kind of partisan the Democrats choose as their whip and to serve on the Judiciary Committee in their name. And in one totally unlooked for moment, former Democratic Representative Kwanzaa Hall of Georgia endorsed the Republican governor and lieutenant governor ticket in his state. And he offered crime and education as his reason for breaking ranks, as he did. Again, most polls open at 6 o'clock a.m. local time today. I don't know how seriously to take warnings or threats from seemingly every Democratic office holder from the president down to the effect that many jurisdictions will take the rest of the week and into next week to determine their results. The only reason for that is the mailing out of absentee ballots for any reason or no reason. If officials want to report results faster, they're going to have to abolish this practice. Perhaps they can institute proxy voting the way the French do it. Oh, there is one other state, Alaska, that might take longer for another reason. They use ranked choice voting, which always takes longer to tabulate. Having said that, I suspect that the election of 2022 will break historical trends. But the Democrats won't like it. Voters have started changing registration from Democrat to Republican, and this after the 2022 primaries. Early voting is supposed to favor Democrats, but in many jurisdictions, it's favored Republicans thus far. The back and forth screaming will likely continue, but today the voters have a decision to make, and for the country's sake, make it a wise one. Link in the description of the article to Chuck Norris' endorsement of 19 Republican candidates all over the country, to Elon Musk's 2 tweets calling for independents to vote Republican just to set a balance of power, to my own tweet back at him, asking him just what Democratic policies he agrees with, to the James Clyburn video, to my Declarations of Truth Twitter account, and to Conservative News and Views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to OurSilverLines.com, as I also mentioned. You know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. And on the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link to my channel and also links to earlier videos I've done about Are You Better Off, Parents Leading the Way to Realign, and one other on a subject relating to this. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.